Hey guys, and welcome to episode 64 of the Pixel Street Podcast, where each and every week we get together to talk about one of the things we love most, video games. This week, Joel is gambling away his life to the wrong crowd, and so we may never ever see him again. But I am stepping in as host for this week. I'm John Hansen, joined by Connor Kopp. How's it going, Connor?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. It's E3 week. I definitely can't complain.
Yeah, E3 just ended not too long ago, about a couple hours ago, I believe. So, as with every E3, tons and tons of announcements. This week, we are only focusing on the conferences and just our grades for those conferences overall. If there are any, side things that weren't particularly announced at conferences, of course, we can bring them up as well. But we're just really diving into that stuff. We're not going into the free games and games coming up because there's just not really much there to begin with. So before we get to that, we did enjoy having new people follow our content, and we hope to keep you around. With that in mind, we have decided to run another giveaway once we reach 100 followers on our Twitter. That's at Pixel Street Pod. You can see us post a bunch of stuff there. Me and Connor, we covered all of the different conferences, and
oh yes, we did.
Yeah, we definitely had some sore thumbs after tweeting nonstop throughout all those, but it was a good time. Outside of there, you can find the Pixel Street Podcast on most podcast platforms on Fridays, as well as on YouTube, and you can now watch the show directly on our Facebook group by searching for Pixel Street Podcast over there. We're available on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcast, your grandma's old-time radio, Your Cat Had a Dream About Me Once. Favorite. Yeah, it's we're just all around the block, except for Spotify, because they hate us. But
you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. But with all of that out of the way, Connor, let's just talk about some E3. You want to do that today?
Oh, hell yeah, I do. Are you kidding me? This is literally my favorite time of the year.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's start off. We'll just kind of go in order. We're not going to talk about EA because there was not much shown there. Star Wars got its first trailer. Apex got a new hero announced, and I think Sims got a new expansion. So if you're excited for that, awesome, but it's not really worth wasting our time on. It just wasn't anything big. So let's just jump right to the Xbox E3 briefing. This happened on Sunday. It ran for about an hour and 45 minutes. There were some really cool things shown off there. They finally acknowledged projects. I almost said Scorpio.
That's
Scarlet. Yeah, Scorpio was Xbox One X. So they announced Project Scarlet, and it is coming out in holiday 2020. Halo Infinite is going to launch beside it. In October of this year, we're going to really get our first public xCloud test, I think. I don't think it was a full release. It was just a test, right?
Yeah, it's their first public wave.
Beta, pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, they also announced that they acquired Double Fine Productions, which are the makers of Psychonauts. There was quite a bit of indie shown off. Probably, though, definitely the biggest thing that got the biggest reaction out of me was the Cyberpunk 2077 trailer, which at the end we got revealed to us that Keanu Reeves has a part in this game, and then he came out
Reeves,
and gave,
baby.
Yeah, it was a very surprising move, and it was awesome. I loved how they announced it, how you're just looking towards him and he's like, "Get up, samurai, we got some work to do," and he just pulls off his glasses, and until he pulled off his glasses, I'm like, wow, that looks a lot like Keanu Reeves, and then he pulled it off and I saw his eyes, I'm like, holy crap, that is Keanu Reeves. And then they had
what are you doing here?
They had they're insane. They actually brought Keanu Reeves out on stage. We had the whole "you're breathtaking" thing. Guy just seemed like he really enjoyed being a part of this project. He seems really passionate about it, which is awesome to see. He's not just there for a paycheck. He gave us the release date.
Pretty interesting, actually. Yeah, Phil Spencer was kind of talking about that too. They kept things really, really hush-hush with him showing up. They only referred to him by code name. They had a somebody stand in for all the rehearsals that wasn't him, and it was just a very secretive process. And the funny thing is that he warned Keanu when he found out he was going to be part of it. He told him, he said, "Listen, this isn't like a a red carpet or just a movie showing or something. Like, these fans are passionate. These people are rowdy. This is going to be a totally different type of energy than you're used to." And that's exactly what showed. I mean, people were going nuts when they saw Keanu Reeves' face up there, and then to actually have him come out, they just blew it out of the water.
Oh yeah, that was definitely the biggest moment in this conference. Before, I was never really that interested in Cyberpunk 27. I thought I might give it a look. It seems cool and everything, but I haven't been like as hyped for it as other people have been. After that, I was like, oh man, they sold me, because that trailer, while it didn't really show any gameplay, it looked great. So I mean, I'm pretty sold on the game right now. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. I've been sold on this game for quite some time. Just the whole aesthetic of it is just super, super pleasing. I think the gameplay looks great. I have been hooked since they gave us that like hour-long gameplay from last year. I just can't wait. And honestly, watching this has only made me more excited.
Also, there's within the last couple days, with E3 just shutting down now, there have been people that have gotten behind doors demos of Cyberpunk, and I know people have been talking about that. I haven't looked into any of it yet, but it is out there. The big thing with bringing in Keanu Reeves out on stage, though, was he finally announced the release date. It was April 16th, 2020, which is, I'm gonna not lie, quite a bit sooner than I thought we were getting. I was expecting next fall or something. I was surprised to see
agree.
next spring.
I honestly was convinced that this was going to be a next-gen title, too. Like, I really didn't think that we were going to get it this gen, because CD Projekt Red just seems like they're going all out here with this. Their world building and everything, and I was really surprised to see that we're actually getting it this gen. I mean, granted, we'll probably get a crossover or a re-release or what have you on the next gen to take advantage of the power there, but yeah, it was pretty surprising.
Yeah, well, also the big thing to remember is that both Sony and Microsoft have recently announced that the Project Scarlet and PS5 will be completely backwards compatible with PS4 and Xbox One games. So I don't think they're really worried about losing out on any power or anything. It's just all going to be there available. I'm not. Of course, we'll get into Project Scarlet here in a little bit, but we still haven't seen like what exactly that console does. We really only heard about the power of it. So who knows, maybe there is like some kind of upscaling thing. Maybe it is pretty much like a PC where you can just go in and change your settings and all that. I don't know. Console gaming is just really in a weird state right now where it's really changing. Like, just everything about it is in this transition phase, especially with the new consoles coming out. But I feel like this leap here, in the past, it's always felt like it's been mostly about like the graphics and everything. Well, our graphics are already amazing. I really think this next console generation is going to be more about the services and also just how well the game runs, and that brings in your loading times and all this other stuff that the companies seem to be focusing on. Yeah, they've been mentioning 8K graphics and everything, but I don't even know that many people so far that have 4K TVs yet, so I don't think that's a good area for people to focus on. I think just really focusing on just the power of the consoles themselves and how well they can run all these things is imperative to how many people jump on in the early stages of next generation.
No, absolutely. And the thing about it is that, when you start talking about things like 8K or higher frame rates or what have you, the reason that companies kind of bring this stuff up isn't so much to tell you, hey, we're capable of doing this. It's more future proofing, just keeping that future proof in mind and saying, hey, let's say the television market goes absolutely bonkers insane in the next 2 years, and they decide that 8K is the thing, and all of a sudden everybody's got 8K TVs. You'll be okay. Like, you're not going to have to buy another console or anything anytime soon in order to be a part of that technology. So just kind of peace of mind for that stuff. But you're absolutely right. I mean, the industry as a whole has kind of shifted in a much more services direction, and it's a great thing. I mean, we're hitting the point where, you know, the bottom end experience, which is the console experience, the base experience that you expect out of it, is in a really really good place. And not only that, it's hit the point where the playing field is kind of level at this point. You know, granted, Xbox with their X at the moment is the most powerful console. The PS4 Pro is very very similar in spec and just in how it plays things. So as those playing fields just get narrower and narrower, uh, that's when we see those services start becoming more and more important, and that's what we're seeing everybody push towards, and especially Xbox here. And the great thing that comes with services is just choice. You know, it's not that every single one of these services that the companies are coming out with are for you. You don't have to buy all of them, but the great thing is that you're going to have the options to pick and choose what you want. And this is honestly the best place the games industry has been in for the past 2 decades. I mean, we're really kind of turning a corner here, and I'm super excited, especially after this press conference. Just kind of makes it real. Just very excited to see where we go next.
Oh yeah, definitely. You kind of mentioned how the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X kind of run similarly. So what they showed for the Project Scarlet was just kind of the same video they showed for the Project Scorpio when it was first announced. Just kind of all these developers and makers of the console itself talking about it and how powerful it is. It was fine. That's about what I expected us to get from this E3. I was going to be very surprised if we got a name or actually got to look at the console. We did not get any of that, especially with it coming out next fall. That's something that they're saving for next year. This year, you're just
Definitely.
like, okay, yes, we acknowledge it. It's real. One thing I do want to point out, though, in that video, so I'm not much of a PC guy. I don't really understand the insides of all these machines. I just play them and everything. One thing I thought was really funny was one of the developers in the video was like, he was saying something about, oh yeah, our solid state drive runs perfectly like an SSD. And I'm like, wait, isn't that the same thing? it was something along those lines. Like the moment I heard it said, I'm like, wait, that doesn't sound right. But whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and take a listen because I don't think I caught that.
Yeah, that's definitely something we should do when we get done here. But what do you think about it coming out next fall? I mean, that's pretty par on course with what we expect, right?
Yeah, I mean, the industry rumors and leaks all kind of pointed to 2020 being the, I guess, start of the next gen. And I'm really not surprised at this point. The big question is going to be, is Sony sticking with 2020 at this point, or are they going to be a little bit later to the race than Xbox? Because it does seem like they're kind of not as far along on their plan as Xbox is. I don't know if maybe that's smoke and mirrors or how they're playing it, but either way, I think it'll be interesting. You mentioned specs a second ago, so I just wanted to dive in on that a little bit. I am an absolute hardware nutcase, and I know that some people out there are as well. So they're touting, this is what they claim. They say that Project Scarlet is capable of native 4K, so no need for checkerboarding or a fake 4K through software emulation, but a true native 4K experience, similar to what the Xbox One X offers right now, just more powerful, essentially. It's 60 FPS, so that's the standard, which is interesting because video games up to this point have traditionally, as far as consoles go, stuck to the 30 FPS marker is the hardware. Specifically, the CPU has been a very heavy limitation on these systems. But they're touting that their system can handle up to 120 FPS, which I would certainly believe with their kind of push towards FreeSync over the past couple of years. And that would be great to see as somebody who plays on PC quite a bit, having that higher frame rate, especially for Twitch shooters or games that have a higher reliability on response time. It's great to see them kind of giving that option. That next-gen SSD, like you said, which they're touting is up to 40 times faster than current consoles, and that translates to load speeds to install times, things like that. Hardware accelerated ray tracing, which, to be honest, is uh, that's smoke and mirrors right there. Ray tracing is great, but it's not a realistic implementation at this time for real time gaming. But the cooler things here, it is, they're touting it as 8K capable. I would assume that we're nowhere near getting true rendered 8K, especially because that market is so far out at this point. Again, that's just kind of that future proofing thing I was talking about. But the interesting thing here, which I honestly think is the coolest part, all of the games, accessories, and your career just come with you. So all of the headsets, controllers, and things that you have now, just sync them up to the Scarlet and you're good to go. The games part we'd already kind of talked about, and that's something they've been hinting at over time. We're not sure exactly how that's going to manifest, but yeah, I mean, that's great to hear. And then, of course, them just kind of sticking with their Xbox ecosystem. You can take your gamer tag and stuff. But the accessories part, I certainly wasn't expecting. As generally when there's that new leap, they like to refresh things. So pretty cool to see on that.
Yeah, no, that was all some awesome stuff. I think we spent a little too long here talking about the console, especially for how little we got to see of it. So let's kind of get to the games, which Xbox has really made sure, since Phil Spencer took over, to make sure that the focus is the games. There were over 60 games shown here, 14 Xbox Game Studios games. We already mentioned Cyberpunk and Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite didn't get any gameplay shown like I predicted. It was just a little trailer. It wasn't even really a story trailer like I predicted it was. It was just, oh, hey, Chief's alive. And we know that the, I can't remember, the giant ship, it's been blown up, and it's just him and this random pilot out in the middle of space taking on an enemy that we didn't even get to see. So, very much... Still don't know what's going on with Halo. That's something they've also announced after the show that they are not revealing any more on Halo until next year's E3. So that's going to be the big push there. We do know it's releasing side by side with the Scarlet. We saw Gears 5, no single player or campaign, whatever you want to call it. That was very interesting to me. But we did see a new trailer for a new mode. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was called, but it was Escape. That's it. It was a 3-person cooperative mode. From the little CGI trailer, it looked cool. I'm not in the Gears. It's whatever. Ninja Theory's new game Bleeding Edge actually led off the conference. There were leaks about this beforehand. It's a 4v4 melee game, kind of in the same vein as Overwatch, so I'm very interested in it. It has kind of that same artistic look to it, and it looks very easygoing. A bit of a weird shift for Ninja Theory, who in the past have always been about very serious games, but I am 100% down for this. They did also mention that they have more things in the works right now, so we know that this isn't it. The first technical alpha is available for that in July, I believe, or no, June. I don't know, June or July. It was the 27th, one of those months. Let's see, from there, Minecraft Dungeons got shown off. It's just pretty much Minecraft in a Diablo-style game. There were tons of... Yeah, that was actually really cool. Was surprised to see no Sea of Thieves and no actual Minecraft updates. They seemed to be really into showing those at E3, but there was none of that. State of Decay 2 got a new mode. It's called, a new expansion. It's called The Heartland, which takes players back to Trumbull County. I've been really meaning to get to that. I have it downloaded because I love the first State of Decay, which is, Trumbull County is actually the first county from State of Decay. It's where you played. So very excited to play that. Forza Horizon 4 got a new Lego DLC, which just came out today, I believe. Man, there was just so many games at this. The Dragon Ball Project Z game, it got a little trailer, and we know it is now called Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. It's just a game focused on Goku, which is awesome. Like I said, a bunch of indie games. There was a couple weird deer ones, which kind of popped up out of nowhere. A game called...
There was a huge showing this year.
Yeah, there was an indie game by the makers of Outer Wilds called 12 Seconds, where it's a time loop game. The guy is talking to his wife. I know the present you're giving me, you're pregnant. A guy's going to come in here. Don't trust him. You got to tell me what happened, all this stuff. That looked very interesting to me. I would like to see more on that. It's definitely something that I want to take a look into. So between all of these games and everything, Connor, what would you say was definitely your favorite showing for Xbox?
Oh man, for Xbox, I'm gonna have to say that I really felt like they knocked it out of the park with the Cyberpunk stuff. They showed just enough to get people excited, and they brought some big star power up on stage, and still kind of kept the mystery around it, nonetheless. So I'm gonna have to go with Cyberpunk 2077 being the best part of that show.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Really, so they showed off a bunch of new Xbox Game Studios games, which was awesome. Like, it is great to see that we are seeing ramifications of them buying all these different companies and everything. The future looks very bright for Xbox as a brand and just their first party and everything, which has been a very different story over the last 6-7 years. So, with that being said, I was kind of disappointed in their showing for the first party games. So we had, like we mentioned, Halo Infinite. Like, I didn't expect to see any gameplay. I was hoping for at least an idea of what the game was about. I have no idea still. Gears 5, no campaign. That's like the biggest thing with them, right? Ori and the Will of the Wisp isn't coming out until next year. There was no new Forza game, but the Lego thing looked awesome. I mean, really the only thing that got me excited coming from Xbox this year was, or we don't even know when it's coming out, but the Bleeding Edge game. Like, there was no new Fable, just not much there at all, which was kind of disappointing because they were talking about how they were building up, they were showing all of these different games, but just like none of it is coming this year.
Yeah, this really kind of sung the song of a company that's kind of tying up loose ends at this point, so that they can make the smooth transition to the next gen. Just really talked about a lot of stuff that already leaked or had been hinted at before, or talked about a little bit, and just kind of got it out there, threw it out in the mix, and closed off the little stuff. But it does seem like they're saving the bigger things for potentially next year or launch with a new gen console. So not the best conference of the show, but certainly not a bad showing.
No, not a bad showing by any means. Just kind of disappointing for what I wanted overall. So, all right, we're running pretty long just talking about Xbox here. What is the conference grade you would give them?
I'm going to give them a B.
A B? Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm going to give them a B- because I was a bit disappointed in the big things that they were talking up. I wanted to see more on xCloud. I wanted more information on that. It was a great conference, and it definitely, that Keanu Reeves moment got me hyped, but there was definitely things that I feel like they could have done better.
Agreed.
But let's move on now. Our second conference was actually the same night as the Xbox conference. It was Bethesda. So they started out with Fallout 76. They talked about how they really messed up and everything. They kind of made jokes at themselves and everything. They announced NPCs are coming to the game. Woo!
Yeah, this was such a weird thing. I can't believe people stood up and clapped over them adding NPCs to a Fallout game. That's just so weird. I just don't get it.
Yeah. The crowd throughout all of E3 this year was just really annoying. Like, they were clapping over everything. It's become a meme now because, like, everyone's just talking about how stupid some of the crowd were being. But
it's true. And every year they go through the hassle to crowd mic all of the crowd and just get some feeler mics out there to capture audience reaction and stuff. But boy, it just did not work in their favor this year. I feel like a couple of the conferences ran over because of it.
No, yeah, and it got to the point where it felt like it wasn't genuine excitement. Like, people were like clapping just to clap, like they were getting paid or something. Like, I've heard a lot of people actually guessing that the companies were paying people to clap, which I don't believe at all. But still, it just because of that, it kind of gave E3 this year a bit of a black eye.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So outside of the Fallout 76 news, Elder Scrolls Blades, is it called?
Yes.
Okay, that is coming Nintendo Switch this fall. It's free. They also announced another phone game. Help me out here. Commander Keen.
Yes.
Commander Keen. That game looked terrible, and I do not want any part to do with that. That looked really bad. But really, the biggest surprise, and really the thing that just cut me off for the entire show for Bethesda, was a new game coming from the makers of the Evil Within games, and he also had a part in the Resident Evil, like the older Resident Evil games. I think it was 1 through 4. He brought out his like underling, or like whoever the like director of this game is, protege. The game is called Ghostwire Tokyo, and it's just another spooky game. They showed a trailer with all these people disappearing out of nowhere, kind of like they got snapped from Thanos or something. And then we saw these like weird little weird monster things. That's really all I can say. It is a action adventure game. It's not really survival horror, so I'm excited for that because I can't stand horror games. I thought this trailer looked really interesting. Would have liked to see gameplay, but overall, I'm very hyped for this game, and I'm excited to see more. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, the teaser was super cool, and I am definitely on board. I think it showed just enough to get me interested, and it's kind of what Bethesda needed when they had a very lackluster show for the rest of the show. Just cool to see, honestly. I'm very excited to see what that turns into.
Yeah. The other new IP shown off was a game called Deathloop. This is by Arcane Lion. They are the maybe they created it. They are the guys behind the Dishonored games. They also worked on Prey, which came out a couple years ago. This game seemed to be kind of like a one-on-one Deathloop game. Like, whenever you kill one person, you come back and play another. No gameplay was shown off for this either, but the trailer looked interesting, and I really like Arcane, so it is going to be a game that I definitely look into more. But this is kind of a theme with most of E3 this year. There were a lot of CG trailers, but not a lot of gameplay. Moving on from that, the big game being shown at this year's E3 for Bethesda was Doom Eternal, a game I am very excited for. It is being released November 26th. They showed off a bunch of gameplay for 22nd. It looks 22nd. Sorry. What did I say? 26th? Yeah.
26th, yeah.
Yeah, it's November 22nd. They are kind of calling this the ultimate power fantasy, which has always been like a thing for Doom. You're going into hell and you're beating up all these demons. They kind of tease that there's a way to get to heaven, so you might be fighting angels at some point in this game, which is awesome. They really showed like the Doomslayer moving in between planets and stuff. There's gonna be a lot of travel in this game. It's definitely a game I'm very excited for. I love Doom 2016, and they've kind of added more like movement abilities. Now there's like a dash, and he can swing off poles and everything. I'm just so ready for this game. How about you?
You know, one thing I was excited about that they showed off was this time around they're actually handling the multiplayer themselves and not outsourcing it. And so they came up with a new game mode called Battle Mode that is 2v1, where 2 players play as demons of their choices, and they can actually spawn other demons to help them out. And 1 person plays as a fully equipped Doomslayer. So it's kind of an asynchronous multiplayer. Looked very, very cool. Had some cool things going on with it. I think balancing might be a little challenging with something like that, but overall, the game mode just looked fun, and I'm super excited to try that out and just play Doom in general. I mean, this trailer was awesome. It's fucking Doom. What more do you want?
Yeah, no, that's exactly how I feel on it. Battle mode, I'm not too sure on at the beginning here. Like, it seemed cool, but it kind of seemed like something that I would play maybe a couple times and then get tired of. I know I'm in the minority here, but I really like Doom 2016's multiplayer. It kind of really reminded me of something like Unreal Tournament back in the day, and maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much, is because it reminded me of that. I just had a lot of fun with it. I know some people didn't, but I enjoyed it. So Rage 2 got a new trailer. It was just kind of talking about the expansion, Rise of the Ghost, which we already knew was coming. Nothing real new shown there except for like some skins and stuff, or maybe a different gun or two. I can't quite remember. Overall, Bethesda, I felt like I knew going in I was there really for Doom. They didn't show off Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield like they said they weren't going to. I mean, overall, I was pretty disappointed in Bethesda this year, though, because, like, yeah, Doom Eternal's awesome. I'm super excited for that, but outside of Ghostwire, everything else in this conference, I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know. What did you think on it?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, it wasn't a horrible conference. Like, I can't say there was any technical issues or that, the presenters sucked or anything like that. It's just that they really had nothing of substance here. I mean, to be honest with you, it was really the Doom show, which isn't a bad thing. I know a lot of people are very excited about Doom, but at that point, why not just call it like it is and say, hey, Doom is about the only thing we're going to be talking about here. Fallout, I guess I'm happy that they're talking about that still, and kind of still committing to hopefully rectifying some of the issues and finding some of that Hello Games success that they had with No Man's Sky. But yeah, I mean, overall, this conference just wasn't a great showing. You really, really could tell that they are in a gap year right now, and they've just got fucking nothing going on other than Doom.
Yep. So personally, I would say this conference got nothing better than a C, and that's only because of Doom Eternal. If you take Doom Eternal out, I would give this like a D-. I did not like this conference at all. What about you?
Yeah, it's C- for me. I mean, Doom's great and all, but man, the rest of this conference just wasn't that great. Honestly, the only redeeming quality for me is Ghostwire Tokyo. The fact that they actually came out and talked about a new IP was pretty cool, but yeah, C-.
Yeah. And I do want to mention, I love that protege that came out. She was awesome. She seemed very passionate about it. She was doing her best to talk in English because she's obviously Japanese. She was awesome, and I'm very excited to see what comes of this game with her working on it, because I just love the feel and everything she was bringing to that. I would probably give it a little more credit if we did see gameplay here, but you cannot count out how good that presentation was just for that.
Yeah, definitely, and it was kind of a metaphorical passing of the torch from Shinji Mikami to her, just kind of giving that creative director position. So both kind of an emotional moment for her, and I thought she stood her ground very well, and just her passion honestly has me excited about the whole thing. So
oh yeah, definitely. All right, so next up, our first show on Monday was the Ubisoft show. They started off with a pretty long dive into Watch Dogs Legion. This was long, but I gotta say, Watch Dogs Legion was the best thing at the Ubisoft show this year, and definitely the most surprising, right?
Oh, for sure. This game looks fantastic. Way better than what I could have even imagined this to be.
Oh yeah. Before we go further into this, like, what's your experience with Watch Dogs?
So I played the first one all the way through, and I played the second one all the way through, albeit a much later than I played the first one. I quite enjoy the series for what it is, but I will absolutely admit that it's kind of a B tier, maybe a high C tier at times. It certainly doesn't feel like a AAA games at times, but this kind of blew me away. I was not expecting this at all.
No, yeah. So just a little background on me. Watch Dogs 1, I never had any interest in. It was during a time where I was like really burnt out on Grand Theft Auto, and I just felt like it looked like a wannabe Grand Theft Auto. I played the first mission at a friend's house, and the game bugged out on me. You're supposed to escape from the cops, and the game bugged out and wouldn't let me escape. Like, I jumped in a boat and sailed to the very edge of the map, and it still said that cops were on me, even though there was no one around me. So
Perfect.
I was like, no what? Fuck this. I'm not going back to it. Watch Dogs 2 looked better to me. I just never got around to trying it. Maybe I will at some point, but no, I thought Watch Dogs Legion looked absolutely amazing. I was, it's funny. So there were leaks and everything, and people were talking about how you can play as any NPC in the game. And we were kind of guessing last week about what that actually meant. I remember saying, like, maybe it's like a mind control thing, which would have been cool. But no, this time you play as DedSec operatives, and you are going around and you recruit people to the DedSec thing, and you are fighting. Did they name the like company that they're fighting?
They call them the Kellys. That's
okay.
kind of the slang term. I don't think that's their official name, but they're referred to as the Kellys.
Okay, so yeah, this takes place in London. Brexit has pretty much torn that society apart. Sorry. Yeah, so any character that you have, if they die, it's a permadeath system. They're gone for good. You can play anyone in the game, from the bald guy to a grandma to a tech genius, just anyone in the game. They all have different programming in them, and you can take advantage of that, and I just think that's really awesome. I really wonder if I think this game has the potential to make the Watch Dogs as a series like jump to the next step, kind of like Assassin's Creed 2 did for Assassin's Creed, because the first one people were like, oh, okay, but it's not great, and then 2 really pushed it up a level, and that was where they found their groove with that. I think Legion, if they nail this right, that could be it, and I hope it is, because what I really loved what I saw from this.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. And all of these characters seem really fleshed out. Everybody, like you said, has their own programming. I mean, there's an older woman that's played during that, and it seems like she has a much slower speed to her. She can't do all the crazy, nonsensical parkour bullshit that the second is renowned for. And it's just some really, really cool kind of in-depth that you make it into your own game and experience it the way that you want to experience it. Not the way that the developer's making you experience it. So a lot of cool stuff going on here. Definitely going to be one to watch. Can't wait for that to release. What else we got?
Oh, yeah. Also, do want to just point out that is coming out in March 2020, March 6th to be specific. So they ended the show with an announcement of a new IP called Gods and Monsters. This is being made by the same people that made Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which right now I just gotta say that's pretty crazy that they're already announcing a game that's going to be coming out next February, with just how huge of a game Assassin's Creed Odyssey was. Like, how the hell did they pull that off? Like, that's just the one team. It's the same exact team. Like, I have no idea how they pulled that off.
And they're still pumping out DLC for Odyssey as well. I mean, it's not like they've been not occupied. They're doing stuff.
Yeah, before the show, they announced the story creator thing. I don't exactly know what it was called, but people can create their own stories in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is awesome. They only showed a short little trailer on Gods and Monsters, but like I said, it's coming out in February, so we should expect to see quite a bit more in the months to come. It looked interesting to me. It kind of had a more cartoony aesthetic. Definitely something I'll look into. Moving on from there, they announced their Uplay Plus membership, which is the streaming thing that was leaked beforehand. $15 a month gets you access to a library of over 100 Ubisoft games and all their DLC. It will include early access and new releases like Watch Dogs Legion. It'll launch on September 3rd, and in 2020 it will be playable on Google Stadia. So this is essentially EA Access, I believe it's called, but with Ubisoft. So cool if you want that. Rainbow Six got a... Yeah, I totally agree. It is too expensive. Rainbow Six Quarantine was announced, which is another 3-person co-op game. This is all PvE centric, it seems. So with Rainbow Six Siege, where it's only PvP and you're like trying to fight against each other, this is not that. This is a totally cooperative game. It didn't really look like zombies or whatever. They called it like an infection, so it could be at the end of the day. Who knows? But whatever the main thing is that you're fighting against, it seems to be taking over people. It's like this black thread thing, or not thread, but like tentacle thing. I don't know. I have no idea what I saw, Connor. Explain it to me.
I think this is a follow-up to the free-to-play mode they did called Outbreak that seemed to kind of test the waters a little bit. It was just a free DLC, or maybe it was a paid as part of a season pass or something, but it was all PvE-centric, and I think this is just them kind of capitalizing on the success there. But you're absolutely right. It's basically zombies. It's some weird shit. It's probably going to be some fun shit. Siege is really, really good. I'm just interested to see what comes out of this. I'm not super into Siege because of the PvP aspect, but PvE sounds super fun, so I'll take it.
Oh yeah, I'm always down for a new cooperative game. All right, so sticking on the Tom Clancy train, Division 2 got its first like DLC updates announced. Well, not updates, but the expansions. Episode 1 is coming in July, and they showed off a bunch of different places where it will be taking place. There was like an aquarium. It was just all over the place. You can go into the Washington Zoo. Episode 2 is coming this fall, will take place in the Pentagon. In Episode 3, you go back to New York City, which is where the first division took place, and you're chasing down an X-Division agent, I guess. They were kind of setting this up to be like a big reveal, like we were going to be hunting down a celebrity or something, I was thinking. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, who do we got here? And then it just turned out to be nothing, and I'm like, oh, okay, that was a weird way to put that, but it is free right now. If you don't own it right now, you can play Division 2 for free for the next couple days. I have it. I haven't ran back to it yet, but when this first DLC comes out, it's definitely going to be something I give a try. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Division 2 is a really, really solid offering, and I'm excited to see where else they take it. And actually, that final DLC, it wraps into the story from the first one. There was a rogue agent that kind of was alluded to causing all of the outbreak that happened, and so it seems like they're finally tying up that storyline. Granted, they haven't talked about that storyline in ages, but seems like they're kind of throwing it back there. And one last thing on the Division thing actually is it's something that's been talked about for some time and was announced a while ago, but the Division movie seems to be moving forward still, and at this point, they announced that it's going to be directed by David Leitch and will be produced with Netflix. Netflix has been kind of pumping out their offerings, and as far as we know, Jake Gyllenhaal's still set to star at this point, so I guess be on the lookout for that. Video game movies are good, right?
Detective Pikachu is good. We'll say that. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Some more. This was a very Tom Clancy heavy show. So Ghost Recon Breakpoint got shown off a little more. It was this really long trailer. I thought it went on for far too long. It was John Bernthal talking to his crew, and then it like transitioned to all the ghosts like taking them out. I guess these are all former Ghost people. Not really anything new shown here. It was just kind of a dramatic speech that went on for like 5 minutes, it felt. John Bernthal then came out with his good boy. His dog just came out, laid down when he told him to. Excellent showing. Excellent showing by the dog. He has a future. I really hope that John Bernthal gets somewhere soon, but that dog is going places. In all honesty, John Bernthal, I really like him. He was Shane from The Walking Dead. He was the Punisher. I like him. It was weird for him showing up because pretty much all he did was say the same things that he said in the trailer. But whatever. Rob McElhenney, who is one of the guys that made It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, he announced a new show they are making. It's called Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet, which is about a game developer in his studio. Rob McElhenney plays the developer. He's like the head of the studio, and he's very self-absorbed and everything. They had a pretty funny thing where he was like showing off a commercial for his game, and it was just like focusing on him, and then it turned to him like without a shirt on and everything. I thought it was funny. This is coming exclusively to Apple TV, so not something that I'm ever gonna watch. So too bad for them, but it seemed all right. If you like It's Always Sunny, you'll probably like that show. And then finishing this off, Connor, Sam Fisher was at the Ubisoft conference. Did you know that?
Oh boy, was he! He definitely he was there.
His brand new game,
Splinter
the
Cell,
mobile strategy game called Tom Clancy's Elite Squad.
Only on mobile, and it's not even about him. It's about heroes.
He's
of
just a
Ubisoft
character.
Games.
Heroes of Tom Clancy games, to be specific.
This was fucking dumb, and I felt dirty.
That was awful.
I still feel dirty, and I'm still mad about it. And this is bullshit. I'm suing Ubisoft.
Yeah, that was an awful showing. It didn't look good at all. It was really not good, and I really feel for all the Splinter Cell fans. They did say that it was just a joke, all that like teasing about Splinter Cell being in development, but man, oh boy, I cannot believe that they didn't at least show a logo or something.
They were playing with fire.
That is just an example of a company not understanding what its fans want. Okay, maybe not a company, because overall, Ubisoft, I think, has a good idea of what their fans want. But when it comes to the Splinter Cell franchise, they are really dropping the ball right now. Everywhere else, they're doing
like
great.
An in-house joke at this point of, oh, hey, the people are talking about Splinter Cell again. Let's fuck with them. You know, it's mean. It's not nice.
Yeah. Last thing I think we should talk about here is the Wii gets its next game. It is still alive. Just Dance 2020 is still coming to the Wii. So
I just want to point out that it is.
Pull out those sensor bars and Wii modes, Connor. We're playing some Just Dance 2020.
13 whole years that the Wii has been out, and they're still pumping out Just Dance games. I mean, props for the support, but
God damn. Right?
Sure. Sure. Why not? Why the hell not? Whatever. Oh,
I did forget to mention another new IP was shown off. This was kind of rumored beforehand. It's a roller derby game called Roller Champions. I thought it actually looked pretty cool. I've never really gotten in the roller derby or watched it or anything. It gave me a quick reminder of like Rocket League. It just looks like this smaller game that could be a lot of fun. Not sure, of course, until we actually play it, but it showed gameplay, and I thought it looked decent. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like their answer to Rocket League. You know, it's a short PvP sports game. There's not much more to talk about here. Really, it's going to be something that we're going to have to play, check out, and if it plays well, then great, awesome. It actually has a pre-alpha demo for the next few days on PC as well, so if you want to get in, check it out. Feel free to do so, but we'll see if it takes off. I don't know that much can compete with Rocket League. That thing's just got a lock on the weird oddball market, but yeah, I'll try it out.
Yeah, I just want to give a little bit of props to them for trying something new, because who would have thought to make a roller derby game? So that's awesome. What grade would you give Ubisoft this year?
Ubisoft, for me, gets a B-.
Yeah, you know, when I first watched the conference, I was thinking, man, that was a really good conference, because I was really stuck on Watch Dogs, and I really thought about how I liked the look of Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Gods and Monsters look good. But after I was thinking about it more, I'm like, man, there was a lot of stuff in the middle there that just, between Just Dance, which of course every year they have to talk about, but that and the phone game, I think not showing any Splinter Cell game really took it down for me, even though I'm not a fan of that series. And Breakpoint didn't show anything new either. So, I would actually give them a C. I still think they have some good stuff coming out, but I don't think it was the greatest showing for them.
Yeah, certainly another gap year showcase.
Yep. Finishing off our Monday shows was Square Enix. This was pretty much the Final Fantasy show, because about 65% of the games shown had something to do with Final Fantasy.
More like 65 of the games were Final Fantasy.
Yeah, no kidding. So they started off with Final Fantasy VII Remake. They did this really awesome thing, I think, at the beginning, where they showed the menu. It was like new game, continue, remake. I thought that was a brilliant way to start off the show. They showed a lot of stuff here, some new mechanics with the fighting since it's changing up now, switching between characters. Tifa and Sephiroth were shown for the first time, which is big. They showed a whole boss fight here, which took way too long. Like, I was like, okay, this looks good, but goddamn, we are spending like 10 minutes on this one boss fight that's not really that interesting. It's just the boss standing in the middle and you throwing a bunch of lead and your sword into him. But otherwise, I thought Final Fantasy VII looked good. It is releasing on March 3rd. It will have 2 discs in it, kind of like Red Dead Redemption 2 did. It will only take place in Midgard, so it's probably going to be a long time before this, like, before the entire Final Fantasy VII is remade, if it's taken them this long just to get through Midgard. What did you think of Final Fantasy VII?
It looks fantastic, and I really have to kind of give them props for how refreshing it was to actually get some gameplay and to get the gameplay broken down, especially with the new combat systems, just because nobody else, it seems like, wanted to throw their gameplay out there this year. Everybody was just cinematic teasers or light story trailers. It was just real cool to see some combat. I agree it was kind of dragged out a little bit, but as somebody who actually didn't play Final Fantasy VII the first time around, I'm very excited for this.
Yeah. I still have to play through the original Final Fantasy VII. I plan on doing that at some point this year because I'm really knocking out some backlog games. But I will say it looked very good. So after Final Fantasy VII, they had a trailer for Life is Strange 2, which I gotta say, definitely the strangest. Get it? Definitely the strangest trailer they showed because it did not announce any new release dates for the next episodes or episode. Because I think it's only got 3 episodes out of 5, and they just did not announce anything new. All they did was like kind of remind people, hey, this is available still, and they like went through clips of the past episodes, which was really weird and just seemed like a waste of time. Moving on, our next Final Fantasy announcement was Crystal Chronicles Remastered. I believe this was already announced to be coming to the Switch and PS4, but there was a new announcement this time that it is coming to smartphones this winter. Are you a fan of Crystal Chronicles?
Absolutely. I'm super excited to replay this.
Alright, that's cool. I never gave it a try. It was originally on the GameCube, right? It was like the link cable thing?
And it's generally pretty expensive to find. I've been toying with the idea for a few years now, so this is perfect. I'm picking it up on the Switch.
All right. Octopath Traveler got a trailer giving us absolutely nothing new, like with the Life is Strange 2 thing. They said, hey, it's available on Steam now, and it had been for already over a week, so that was interesting. The Last Remnant is being remastered. I have no idea what this is. Do you?
I think it is a game that was out on 360 or something like that, or PS3. A real obscure JRPG back in the day. Had a fan cult following. It's cool. I don't really care.
Okay, well, it's available now on Switch for $20. Dragon Quest Builders 2 got a new trailer, showed off a bunch of gameplay for it. It's, if you like the first Dragon Quest Builders, it's that plus more. It's bigger. It definitely made a big emphasis on how much bigger it is. Look cool. Not something that I'm gonna look into because, well, I have Minecraft if I want to play a game like that, and I've never been in the Dragon Quest. But regardless, if you like that, that's cool. Circuit Superstars is like an indie style top-down racing game. This was an odd announcement and definitely an odd like lead up to it being shown. Like, they were at first they were like going through all the indie games that Square Enix like helps make, and that was cool, but then they like were talking to the people and they like did not explain the game at all, besides that it was a top-down racing game, and there was like some video of it being played. I was like, oh, okay, that was weird. They spent some time, they put out this like trailer, or not even really a trailer, it was essentially a commercial of all the Final Fantasy soundtracks coming to music streaming services. I had heard from some people that we already knew about this, so...
Yeah, I think they went live 2 days prior, so it kind of got pushed out early, I believe.
Okay. That's just another example of like, okay, that was really weird. Final Fantasy 14, their Shadowbringers update was shown off. It is coming in July. This seemed to go on forever, and I have no idea what happened during the entire thing because I just completely zoned out. But if you like Final Fantasy 14, which I know it's been growing a lot, so there are people that like it, please be excited for that. Dying Light 2 got a new trailer shown off. I was a huge fan of Dying Light 1. I really like Techland. I'm very excited for this game. It is coming out in spring 2020. They showed off a bunch of gameplay of like the movements and stuff. I liked how they showed that you can like run on walls now, and just how more expanded the parkour and fighting systems are. I really enjoyed it. Were you a fan of the first Dying Light?
Oh, absolutely. The game was fantastic. Can't wait to get my hands on the second one. The first one I put tons and tons of time into, and honestly, I think the thing that I'm most excited for on this is just the Easter eggs. I mean, you had like the Mario Easter egg in the first one. The raccoon feather or whatever as well, and I'm just super excited to see what they do. Can't wait.
Oh yeah, Dying Light is excellent. I can't wait for the second one. Next up, these games that were apparently only available in Japan are coming to the West now. It's called Romancing Saga 3. And there was also another one, Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions. Okay, never heard of them, but they're coming over here if you need it. War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. God damn it.
You know, it's funny, when this conference was going on, John texted me and said, they're just making up words now.
That
was pretty exciting.
Yeah. This is another phone game to go along with, I think it's just called Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
Yep.
It's another game. Outriders was shown off a very little bit. There was kind of like, they were like trying to build up hype for it beforehand, like in the week before E3, because they were like showing, oh hey, this is a brand new IP that we are showing at E3, and they kind of just showed like someone behind an icy glass.
And then it was a cinematic trailer, because that's all we got this year.
Yep, cinematic trailer, and then a video of the development team talking about it, and you could see like in the background a little bit of gameplay. So I guess technically we saw like 3 seconds of gameplay. They showed off designs for monsters, which actually looked pretty cool. They were like these mutated monsters or aliens. I have no idea, because I have no idea what went on in the trailer, even besides explosions and like people shooting and stuff. It seemed very generic, but whatever. We will see when it actually comes out. Oninaki is getting a release date for August 22nd, 2019. That is on Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Steam. No idea what that is. Definitely an announcement here that I was very surprised to see, and I think a lot of people were pleasantly surprised to see. Final Fantasy, 8 is getting remastered for the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Steam. There was a lot of talk earlier this year when they announced all of the Final Fantasy games coming to like Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. It's just like all the popular ones. 8 was left out, and there was a lot of talk about, oh crap, they lost the code, so Final Fantasy 8 is probably lost forever. So this was a surprise to see, and even though I've never really gotten into Final Fantasy myself, definitely happy for fans of the game. This was a really awesome announcement. The game looks great, especially when you compare it to the original. I thought this was a great showing for them.
Yeah, I mean, all of that Final Fantasy stuff is kind of a no-brainer. They know that it's going to sell gangbusters. They know that people are going to snap it up like crazy, and so doing some simple work on something like this, just slapping some new graphics and whatnot on it, very, very good for them strategically as a business. I think it's also important to kind of preserve that piece of gaming history, so happy to see them kind of continue the trend here.
All right. We got our first look at Marvel's Avengers, which was the big thing I was excited for. I really liked this trailer. I know there are some people complaining about how little gameplay we saw, but it was a mostly cinematic trailer, which was like all in-game cinematics. The Avengers having A Day, which is just a day celebrating them. They get distracted at the Golden Gate Bridge. Hulk, Iron Man, and Thor go over there and fight, and we see them fighting all these people. Captain America is on the shield carrier. It blows up. He's presumed dead. Jump 5 years in the future. The Avengers have disassembled. Everyone hates each other. We have to get back together. They announced more heroes will be coming in the future, as well as the Guardians of the Galaxy. They were announced. The game is coming out in May of next year. Overall, I really liked what they showed of the game. I really liked what they said. No loot boxes, no pay to win. I'm really excited for this game. I can't wait to see more. How about you?
I can't help but be kind of a cynical asshole on here when it comes to this game. Is I really feel like these character models just look like the Costco brand version of the mainline characters. I just really didn't like the character models. And actually, a lot of people have come out and said that. And the developers said that they hear the feedback and they're going to be reassessing the models. So that's good to hear, at least. They seem like they're relatively receptive for every piece of criticism they've gotten so far. And then the other thing is, I don't know, it just... the gameplay that we got didn't seem like gameplay, and I'm a little concerned as to how that's going to end up in the final version. So I am being a little bit pessimistic here. I'm sure that the game will come out and be something that's totally playable and fine, but I certainly have some concerns. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Oh, yeah. I know. I've heard people talk about how they didn't like the designs of the characters as well. I thought they were fine, personally. I liked that it was a different Tony Stark. It wasn't Robert Downey Jr., wasn't Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. These are new designs. An all-star cast behind them as well. Let's just say that.
Absolutely.
Troy Baker is Bruce Banner. Nolan North is Iron Man, which is a perfect casting right there.
Yes.
I can't remember the girl's name who's Black Widow. Crap. Really big name as well, though. Very excited for that. I'm glad to see that they're looking at the designs. This isn't like a Sonic the Hedgehog movie situation where it will delay it or you're looking at really messing up the production of this. I think they are very close to having it perfect. I'll be excited to see what changes they make, but I thought they looked fine going off, and I liked what I saw of the game. All right, so what grade would you give Square Enix's Final Fantasy 2019 E3 conference?
I'm going to give Square a B-. I thought it was a relatively solid offering. There was a lot of stuff that they talked about that I did care about, like Final Fantasy VII, of course. But there was just a lot of filler. I mean, there was stuff in there that really had no business being in the presentation. I mean, you had Octopath Traveler, which they were just talking about that being to Steam, and we've known that for ages at this point.
And it'd been out for a week already.
Exactly. So super weird there. I mean, they botched the launch of the Final Fantasy soundtracks and launched those early, and it just kind of came out a little weird and disjointed. The stuff that they did show and did focus on did have a great variety and a good show to it. But yeah, I mean, just it certainly wasn't great. I think they could have cut out a lot of fat there and really trimmed it down and made it a much better conference for it.
Yeah, I would give them a C- because between Final Fantasy VII Remake and Marvel's Avengers, like you said, that was pretty much all filler. Outside of Final Fantasy VIII Remastered and the Final Fantasy XIV, whatever it was called, Shadowrun or whatever, pretty much all of that didn't need to be here. There was not much good shown there. Cool stuff for the people excited about it, but definitely not for me. And like I said earlier, Avengers was the only thing I was really excited for. But let's move on to our final conference showing of the year, Nintendo. This took place Tuesday morning, and so, let's just jump right into it. So they started off with a new Smash character announced. It is the hero from Dragon Quest, and it appears he has a bunch of different costumes or something that would make him look like other Dragon Quest heroes. So that was cool for Dragon Quest fans. Like I said earlier, I'm not into it, but cool for them. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, cool to see the character. I think the interesting thing on those is more that uh, it seems like the Super Smash that they have, their ultimate ability or whatever you want to call it, is actually selectable for the characters. So a little bit of variation there. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Dragon Quest fan, so didn't really care too much.
Yeah, but let's talk about the big news with Super Smash Brothers, boy. Banjo-Kazooie is coming
Duck
to
Hunt.
Smash this fall.
Oh, okay.
Fucking Banjo-Kazooie. Ah! I was so excited to see this. Oh my god, like there was talk, like everyone's wanted this since Smash was
Yeah.
announced. They're like, oh yeah, Banjo's got to be coming here. Microsoft and Nintendo are working together so well. Phil Spencer said that he would bring it. I loved how they presented this. This was the second to last announcement, and they showed it off just like the King K. Rool reveal, where it was Donkey Kong, Diddy just chilling in their house. King K. Rool was there with them this time, and you see a Jiggy bounce across the floor. And even before that Jiggy went across the floor, I was like, oh my god, this is it. This is real. It's happening. They look outside. Oh, look, it's the silhouette of Banjo-Kazooie. Oh, nope, it's Duck Hunt Dog doing the same thing that King DDD did in the King K. Rool trailer. And then Banjo-Kazooie come falling out of nowhere. Banjo goes hayuk, and they show off gameplay. The design looks great. I am all for it. He looks perfect. Like I said, I believe I said this last week, but Banjo-Kazooie has like the perfect skill set to work for the Super Smash Brothers like controls and everything. And oh man, I am just so excited to play as him this fall.
Yeah, I mean, it's super great to see Banjo come back. Banjo is one of the first characters that I fell in love with when I first started getting into video games and stuff. And just seeing him in other things is awesome. And the fans have been asking this forever, and it's a no-brainer. So real cool to see this deal happen and for them to actually do it. Now just give us a new fucking Banjo game, please. Just do it.
Yeah, you gotta really hope now that he's been shown off that Microsoft at least is looking into it. You gotta hope. But besides,
or something.
Yeah. Besides that, you got your daily reminder that Dragon Quest XI is coming to the Switch. Luigi's Mansion 3 got some good gameplay shown off. I thought it looked very good. Luigi is returning for cooperative. It takes place in a big hotel this time. Mario, Peach, and Toad have been kidnapped or they're missing. Luigi has a new vacuum that he uses to physically abuse the ghosts before he catches them, like slapping them against the walls and stuff. That was very interesting to see. Interestingly, they did not give a release date yet, but they did say it's still coming this year. Very odd that we got no release date, but whatever. The game looked great. I'm excited for that to come out. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic. It's been too long since we got a Luigi's Mansion, and as far as the release date's concerned, you've gotta imagine it's October, right? Like, it has to be October. There's no way they're gonna release a Luigi's Mansion not in October. It's literally the perfect time. So
that's the thing though, is they didn't even say October though. Like that's my thinking, but you would think that, oh yeah, October. Like, it just makes sense, but they didn't say it. They just said 2019. So it's like, is this like gonna be like a Super Smash Brothers thing last year where it comes out in December, which is a very weird time for it to come out? Regardless, it's Luigi. It has to do with Mario. It's a Nintendo first party game. It's gonna sell well, especially with the Switch being as big as it is. But it's just very weird to me that there was no release window at all, besides it's still coming this year. Speaking of games that were supposed to come out this year, though, but have been pushed to March 2020, Animal Crossing has gotten a delay.
No, not Animal Crossing. Why would you do this to us, Nintendo? This is so frustrating. But at the same time, I mean, I want a playable, good game. So, I mean, I guess I'll take it. But, man, I just want my fucking Animal Crossing, man.
Yeah, Nintendo are very big stricklers about making sure a game is finished before they release it. They did say it kind of reminded me of the Metroid delay earlier this year, where they're like, yeah, we originally announced that it was coming in 2019. We're sorry, but we need more time to work on it. So I am always okay with something like that. Like, anytime Nintendo comes out and says, hey, we're sorry, we just need a little more time to work on this. It will come out, and it will be the best game that they can possibly make. It's just Nintendo. Like, that's how it's going to be. It's very exciting for Animal Crossing coming out, but it is a little disappointing that we're not going to play it this year. There is a multiplayer thing to it. It seemed like a cooperative thing. You're on a deserted island. You seem to be building it up from nothing, it seems. It's called New Horizons. I guess I didn't mention that. The release date is March 20th, 2020. I think it looks good. I've never gotten into Animal Crossing, but I'm definitely going to give it a try on my Switch because, well, I love my Switch and I want to play everything on it.
I'll absolutely be playing the living hell out of this. I'm going to play so much of it, and March isn't that long to wait. The co-op thing is great, but the really, really cool thing about this as well is that it has 8-player online play, where you can get 8 people together on an island and just go ham. You can fish, you can dig, you can knock up trees, you can get stung by bees, you can just do all the Animal Crossing things, and I'm just very excited.
You know what's really interesting? I never even really thought about that, how many people it was. Like I saw all the people come up, and I'm like, oh, okay, multiplayer. That's all I thought. I didn't think about the number of people. So yeah, that's awesome that a bunch of people can play it. Like, you, me, Josh, and the rest of our friends, we could just jump on there and make our own little county. Like,
just
dude,
go ham.
Let's do that. Yeah,
let's go.
That sounds awesome. I am down for that. One of the games I am looking forward to most this year got a new trailer and a release date. Link's Awakening is coming out September 20th. They also announced a new Link amiibo to go with it. It looks awesome. There's a dungeon building mechanic in the game, which is pretty much Legend of Zelda Maker. It looked awesome. It looked like fun. I'm so excited to play this game. I played the original Game Boy game back in the day, but I never beat it because I was young and stupid and bad, like I still am. Trials of Mana got a remake, and also a collection of the Mana games are available now on the Switch. Fire Emblem Three Houses got a new story trailer. Gotta say, I completely zoned out during this. I've never been into Fire Emblem, but wow, this was even more boring than the last thing they shown on it, where they went like 10 minutes into it.
You watch your mouth?
Definitely. No.
This is my political simulator, and you're gonna leave it alone. No. I love it. It's my thing.
It looks boring and not fun at all.
You're boring.
You're right. Resident Evil got kind of a weird trailer where they were like showing off playing the original Resident Evil remake in an old house, which was I was like, okay, that's already out. And then they announced that 5 and 6 were coming, which is like, why wouldn't you just have them playing that if it's the upcoming thing? Whatever, though.
Nintendo's trying to promote you to trespass into old haunted houses. That's all.
Yeah. Whatever. I enjoyed Resident Evil 5, 6 not so much, but that's cool that they're coming to the Switch. You can almost play every Resident Evil game on the Switch now, which is just awesome. Moving on, No More Heroes 3 got announced for the Switch. I know a lot of No More Heroes fans are excited about this. I would have preferred to see like a No More Heroes remaster of the first 2 games, because I never got a chance to play them. But regardless, this is cool. Very excited for people that are into that series. Daemon X Machina got a release date for September 13th. Really out of nowhere, Panzer Dragoon got a remake announced, which is just a complete remake of the original. It's not a sequel. It is just a remake, which, okay, cool. A new Contra game was announced. It is called Contra Rogue Corps, I believe. Yes. And it's coming sometime this year, and it looked awful, let me say. Right?
Yeah, boy, this I was watching it, and before they even mentioned the name, I couldn't help but think this is certainly something I'm never gonna play. And then they said Contra, and I was like, wow, I guess that's a great way to just bury that franchise and never talk about it ever again. This does not look fantastic. I mean, they could prove us wrong, but boy, am I not sold.
It's going to take some work, because that looked really bad. The frame rate was bad. The models didn't look good. The gameplay looked boring and just generic. definitely something I'm staying away from. They did have a surprise release for the Contra Anniversary Collection, so if you're a Contra fan, that's cool. It's 10 classic Contra games. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 got a new trailer, which showed off some new characters. There was Ghost Rider, Elektra, just a bunch of new people coming. I'm super excited for this game. Can't wait for it to come out in July. It looks good, and what they showed of it more, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm already sold on this game.
Yeah,
how about you?
They also announced an expansion pass for the game as well.
Oh,
so
that is right.
Adding some more stuff for that, and the first couple are going to be Marvel Knights, X-Men, and Fantastic Four for the universes they'll be pulling from. So pretty cool. I haven't played an Ultimate Alliance game in forever, but what I do remember of them, I thoroughly enjoyed. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, I only played the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm just on a huge Marvel kick right now. I'm just all about Marvel at the moment. A new Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games trailer was shown. The game is coming out in November of this year. The 2020 Olympics, of course, are taking place in Tokyo, so it's based around that. I just want to see a platforming Mario and Sonic game, like just a team-up game. I don't want to see Olympics, but whatever. It is what it is. I know they like it. They do it every 4 years now. Spyro Reignited Trilogy is coming to the Switch this year, which surprises absolutely no one. The game is brilliant. I would definitely consider buying it again, even though I 100%ed all 3 games except for one bugged out chest on the third one. Brilliant games. If you haven't played them, go play them. Cadence of Hyrule was announced to actually release today as we are recording this, June 13th. Definitely a game I want to play. Bunch of remixed Zelda songs. Very excited to play it. It's $25 though, which is a bit more than I was expecting, but definitely something I'm going to play in the future. What are your thoughts on Cadence of Hyrule?
I'm super excited to check this out. This game looks fantastic. The art style is great. Crypt of the Necrodancer got tons and tons and tons of great reviews. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to check it out, but I think with this, I'm going to pick this up, and if I like it, I'll probably go back to Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's that weird kind of strange strategy tactic stuff that I am very much into, and I'm very excited to touch this and get some hands on time.
Yeah. A couple of ports here. Alien Isolation is coming to the Switch, which was very surprising to me. But that's cool. That I might actually give it a try there. The Witcher 3 is also coming, so those leaks and rumors were true, which is cool. I definitely want to give it a try there as well.
You mean
Astral Chain
Switcher 3? Sorry. Couldn't help myself.
Astral Chain got a new gameplay trailer. It looks very Japanese, and I have no idea what happened during it, but it looks like fun for people who are fans of Platinum games, I think. Maybe? I don't know what to think about it. Like I said, I have no idea what even happened during it. Pokemon Sword and Shield, they kind of showed off like a little bit, but not really. They said the Pokeball Plus can work with it if you want to walk around with your Pokemon, but you can't use it as a controller, and that was about it. It was just like, oh yeah, and we're showing it afterwards, which they did, and the game looks good. Buy Pokemon Sword and Shield. And then our final announcement for the Nintendo One, definitely a big surprise here. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is in production right now, in development right now. They showed a short little trailer of Link and Zelda going through this dark cave area, this zombie looking thing with big red glowy eyes looking at them, and then Hyrule Castle from the original Breath of the Wild. It was the same map and everything. It started lifting out of the ground. Oh man, I am just anytime there's Legend of Zelda news, I am excited. I was spoiled this year with Cadence of Hyrule, Link's Awakening, and Breath of the Wild 2 now. I am so excited to see this. I know we're not seeing any more of it pretty much until E3, obviously, because it's going to be a couple years out still. But man, I am so excited for this game, and I think it looks brilliant so far.
Yeah,
how about you?
I lost my damn mind when they threw this up. At first, it looked like it could have almost be another DLC announcement or something for Breath of the Wild, which I would have been absolutely okay with. But for them to come out and just say, "Hey, we're working on a sequel," that was like the bomb on top of the cake. They just knocked it out of the park. The whole conference was phenomenal, and then to end on this high note, I just couldn't believe it. This is such an incredible conference and offering from Nintendo, and really solidifies the Nintendo Switch as one of the best bang for your buck consoles on the market. Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite games of all time. In fact, I'm getting ready to replay it all the way front to back again, just in anticipation for the sequel. And I cannot wait. Like you said, I know it's going to be a while before we get our hands on it, but just knowing that it exists is so, so awesome. And it looks much darker, which I'm very into and very happy to see. Seems to be kind of a Majora's Mask situation to Ocarina of Time. I'm just super, super stoked. I want this damn game, man. I want to play it.
Oh yeah, I will be counting down the days until we get to see more of it and actually play it, because oh man, like you nailed it. Breath of the Wild is one of the best games ever made. It's one of my favorites of all time. Probably my favorite Zelda game, which is saying something, which I would say Legend of Zelda is definitely one of my top 3 favorite franchises of all time. It looked brilliant. It looked spooky. Zelda had short hair. She looked cute. There's just nothing more you can say. Nintendo knows what they're doing with The Legend of Zelda right now, and I mean, they always have, but God, am I ready for this game. It kind of gives me hope that they're going to be releasing a Super Mario Odyssey spin-off or whatever soon as well, because that game was brilliant the same year it came out as Breath of the Wild. So I'm kind of hoping for that in the future as well, but hey, I'm just so stoked for this. This is just an amazing announcement.
Yeah, I mean, altogether, just a phenomenal showing. Like I said, Breath of the Wild was just icing on the cake. The rest of it was great, even without this. So, thinking about scores, what do you score this one, John?
I think they definitely had the best showing of anyone at E3. I think Microsoft had the second best showing, but I think Nintendo outdid them with the Banjo and the Zelda announcements. They had more excitement. They had more things people care about. It was a lot more. It was a lot more quality over quantity. I felt like Microsoft had a lot of stuff in there that there was a lot of good stuff in there, but there was also some stuff where you're like, okay, next. I don't really care. Nintendo, I got to give an A minus, possibly an A. Like, it was just such a brilliant showing. I was having such a fun time throughout the entire thing. It was. And I think mostly what this comes down to is that they are not on the verge of releasing a new console. They're not making a generational jump here. They can just focus on their games and moving forward. They don't have to hold anything back. So I think that really helped them out this year. And I think they are the best show this year because of it.
Yeah, personally, I'm going to go ahead and give them that A. I mean, front to back, their conference was great. I thought it was just very, very solid. Like you said, they kept their foot on the gas. Everybody else was kind of taking that gap year to rest up and, give a little bit of extra development time to the projects they've been working on for some time, or to wrap things up and get them ready for the next generation. But Nintendo went all in here, and that's so great to see, considering Nintendo has traditionally not been a massive part of E3 in the past. This year, to see them just kind of be like, hey, we're doing all of this. And not only that, one of the crazy things about this is that Nintendo traditionally as well doesn't like to talk about things that are way out. They generally stick to a 3-month cycle or so. They'll announce things in a 3-month window and then wait that 3-month period and announce things for the next 3 months. But to see them talk about things that could potentially be a year and a half, maybe even 2 years out was super cool, as it kind of lays out their plans for the future and lets us know that again, I mean, Switch is one of the best bang for the buck systems on the market right now, and that they fully intend to support it. Not that anybody had any doubts, but you never know. I mean, it's just great to see, great to hear, and yeah, for me, it's a definite solid A.
Nintendo is definitely at their best when they can focus on the games and everything, and them just having a console that is as brilliant as the Switch is right now just helps them out so much. I mean, they have, bar none, the best first-party lineup in all of gaming ever. Like, it's no contest. They have the best. and just seeing them focus on just developing all that and everything, it's just so fun to see. As a Nintendo fanboy growing up, this is like some of the happiest I have been watching Nintendo for a very long time.
Yeah, it's great to see them kind of turn themselves around. They had a very dark and tumultuous time with the Wii U for quite some time. We know how well that went, but to see them kind of in their prime time now, where they've put all the time and the work in, and they're really starting to hit their stride. It's just super super cool to see. And like you said, I mean, we're reaping the rewards. Breath of the Wild 2, Animal Crossing, the new one, looks phenomenal. Super Mario Odyssey was mind-blowingly great, and with them being able to focus on those games, like you said, we're just seeing them at their best with their best offerings, and it really is true. I mean, they've got some of the best catalog in the games industry.
Yep, absolutely agree. We are running very long, but I kind of expected that we would. So let's call it here. Connor, overall, give me a grade for E3 this year. Just overall, like even outside conferences, everything you saw afterwards.
Yeah, this year I'm going to have to go with a C+. Definitely not a horrible year, but you could tell that a lot of companies were kind of taking a gap year or just taking a break and not really focusing on a lot, or wrapping up those loose ends. So for me, C+ makes sense. Is that kind of denotes a conference that has some room to improve, and I think next year it absolutely will. But certainly by all means, not a bad showing this year.
Yeah, personally, I would give it a C. You pretty much hit the nail on all the heads there. Sony not being here definitely played an impact into that. I'm predicting that they will come back next year, so seeing them and Microsoft just show everything coming to the next generation of consoles is going to be awesome. Plus, all of the third parties are going to be revealing everything that they're going to be making for those as well. I think Nintendo will have another excellent year of developing, just focusing on their games and everything. Next year is definitely the big year to look out for, I think. This year did kind of feel like a stopgap, just kind of okay, we're here, but let's get through this. Overall, an average year, I think. It wasn't the most exciting, but I think there was a lot of good stuff announced.
Very excited to see the next year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But that ends it for episode... Crap, what did I say? 64? Wow, man, we are good at this. We've been doing this for a while. All right, that's episode 60. Oh, yeah, 10 out of 10. We are... Blah, blah, what was I saying? That does it for episode 64 of the Pixel Street Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to us. Be sure to hit us up on Twitter at Pixel Street Pod. Give us some... topics of the week we can focus on. Next week we will be going back to that standard kind of format that we usually have. E3 kind of threw us in a loop. Hopefully we'll have Joel back. Hopefully me and Connor will be available as well. But be sure to look forward to until then. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Just search up Almost Random. Give us some ratings. Just share us around. I mean, just talk to us on Twitter. You know what? I just want to talk to you. Why do you never talk to me? I just want to communicate with you. It's all I want, okay? I'm sitting here letting my heart out, and you're just ignoring me, okay? That's not cool. But in all seriousness, I'm John Hansen. You can find me at RevX Shadows on Twitter. You can also look for me on YouTube. Just search RevX Shadows or youtube.com/JohnJW92. I just announced this week that I have left cultureofgaming.com, and I will have some announcements for some exciting websites I'm going to be writing on in the future. Connor, where can the people find you?
I am on the Twitter at TheRealBirch. That's Birch as in the tree, but without the I. I'm also on Mixer under Birch. That's again with no I, and I also handle a lot of the social media stuff. Usually I'm responding back to people on our Twitter page, or I'll check out our Facebook from time to time, so feel free to hit us up on there. We do like communicating with you. We do like talking to you. Just let us know what's on your mind.
All right. That does it for episode 64. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Bye.
Bye.